There have long been calls in Afghanistan for a bridge over the river Khowst. At long last, they have been heard. This autumn, the bridge will be ready and will play an important part in resurrecting the economy of the war-torn country. We couldn't afford it because it was too expensive. The bridge is one of several development projects, financed and overseen by the NATO forces in Afghanistan. They've provided new jobs for local people. When the coalition forces started projects here, all men could find jobs. Now all are doing their own work, so there's no problem in our village, and the economy of the people is good now. Solely in Khowst province, $91 million was spent by the US last year in improving infrastructure. All efforts are done in the form of a so-called PRT, Provincial Reconstruction Team, where the American NATO forces provide security and finance, together with the US State Department and the development agency USAID. The approximately $15 billion invested since 2001 has meant an economic boom in Afghanistan. The GNP has more than doubled in the last 5 years, and in many areas, like here in Khowst, improved conditions have led to a dwindling support for insurgents and the Taliban. We don't have such people that cause problems in our area, and we don't let them live here. But all areas in Khowst are not secure. The construction of a road going east from Khowst city has been stopped. Before proceeding on, the contractor wants guarantees that it will not be attacked in the next village. I have not received any threats so far, but we will see in the future, because we are here only 5 to 8 kilometers outside Khowst. The people in this area are good, but we don't know about the people in the next area. Khowst province, like the countryside in general, is very traditional, and changes are viewed with suspicion. The Taliban movement enjoyed a strong support, mainly from the Pashtuns, who make up the majority in this province. Now, according to opinion polls recently made in Afghanistan, only 10% support the Taliban, while up to 90% want the troops from NATO and the US-led coalition to stay in the country. But that's not the opinion here at the end of the road.
This area has been a long-time center of gravity for anti-coalition forces, a lot of IED facilitators, suicide bombing facilitators. It's the last bastion, if you will, in Khowst province of where they're really operating from. 80% of this province is green, in control. The governance has been set up.
The PRTs have put a huge effort into construction of roads, schools, hospitals, and other public buildings, and at the same time have reduced purely military warfare against the Taliban and other insurgents. They meet regularly with the authorities in Khowst for coordination of all measures that in the end have the aim of making the Afghan population more supportive of the government and NATO forces. Many Afghans still think that the Americans are invaders, and they did not come here officially by invitation. But now this idea has gone from the minds of the people of Khowst, and they are happy for the reconstruction project, and because military operations have decreased. The coalition also aims to strengthen local authority power. The governor lacks his own budget, but wants to decrease the gap between people and government.
I will say yes, because, like for example, in Khowst, the amount of work we have done in the last 1 year that really brought some changes in the life of the people.
In the bathroom, definitely we need a window. Yeah, the bathroom has one, but how about the sleeping area?
A district centre for police and a municipal office is constructed, but even though it will improve service for the villagers, the neighbour is not satisfied. I'm a poor man, but if I could, I would stop their work. But I cannot, because it's the government's building. The man is protesting because soldiers in the guard tower will be able to see into his backyard and see the women uncovered, hugely disrespectful in Afghanistan.
Well, I think we have it solved. The guard towers will be lower than what is typical, so they will be set up so that the guards cannot look over the wall.
Further away, one of 52 schools is being built in the province, financed by the PRT. People here are very happy for that, and they like the Americans. They say that they are better than the Taliban. Traditionally, women have a second rank to men here. The construction of a girls' school caused a bomb attack in protest. There are suspicions that the resistance comes from a conservative and hostile religious school, a madrasa further down the village.
A lot of anti-coalition activity is based in some of the more radical unregistered madrasas. One of the goals of the PRT is to register as many madrasas as possible with the government to ensure that they practice safe, friendly Islamic teachings.
NATO's reconstruction teams work in 3/4 of all provinces. In Paktia, the needs are huge, even if major improvements have taken place. A PRT team visits the hospital in the main city, Gardez. Usually there is a meeting every week.
If you want to bring a list of things that you would like to have in the ambulance, equipment or capabilities, that would be a good place for us to start.
Health standards in Afghanistan have drastically improved, and 90% of the population has now access to healthcare, compared to about 1/10 during the Taliban regime. 2-year-old Mansour pulled down a rice cooker and burned himself, but received quick care. Yes, we are happy with the service. In Gardez, the Central Ministry of Health wants to build a new hospital, which can be done with support from the PRT, but also needed are systems for water and electricity and education.
Well, it's certainly not a lack of cooperation. I think it's multifaceted. It's in some cases it's a lack of understanding of the system by some of the people in the government, in the local government. And I think it's also a question of money and a question of time. Security plays a big role in that.
Creating a peaceful and secure environment is regarded as a top priority. Before, the family and clan traditions stabilised society, but these were broken down during decades of war and displacement. The lack of strong authority makes it possible for religious networks like Taliban to get a strong grip over the local communities. Many now see it as important to get the moderate Taliban to take part in society building. We should talk with all groups, and this dialogue must be according to the Constitution of Afghanistan. To give the Taliban confidence to come and take part. From Khowst city, there is a 3-hour jeep drive to the northeast. The passes bordering Pakistan lie at well over 3,000 meters. The US soldiers cautiously walk up to the border crossing. The Pakistani border guards on the other side occasionally open fire without warning. But today, fighting inside Pakistan is causing problems. A group of men has waited for several days to cross the border. Around 250 people have been killed.
Why are they being told they can't go over?
A representative from the US State Department asked questions about what has happened. Old conflicts between tribes belonging to different Muslim sects inside the border provinces have suddenly flared up. The Taliban killed them. One of the tribes did not like that, so fighting started. 2 Pakistani border guards walk over for a talk. The Taliban allegedly enjoy strong support in the border areas and cross freely into Afghanistan at this border pass. But the Afghan tribe controlling the area won't allow this anymore.
the Journeyman tribe is so strong, they will not allow Taliban to come through this district. So for instance, just 2 miles from here is a school we're building. That community, there was a group of Taliban that came in, they surrounded them, contacted coalition and international forces, and pushed them back across the border.
Later in the day, an inauguration ceremony is held at another district centre in Journeyman, further into the countryside. A band is cut, and the American soldiers yawn. The villagers on the other side of the mountain ridge used to attack government forces, but later they were promised reconstruction help by the American PRT, so their support of the Taliban has now stopped. By that, one of the goals of the PRT has been reached.
Absolutely. We consider it as part of the war on terror. The main thing is this less than 15 miles from where we were at is where the 9/11 training camps were at, a place where Muhammad Atta trained. So for Americans, it's very easy to understand Afghanistan is where the war on terror started. It's where 9/11 started. It started right here. So if we can't be successful here at helping these people cast off the influences of Al-Qaida and the tyranny of the Taliban and lift themselves up, we can't be successful anywhere.